The story begins at a lively house party. The atmosphere is relaxed, with music and drinks flowing. Among the guests is Courtney, a high school student enjoying the night with her friends. The group starts talking about a trending new app called Countdown. The premise is simple but creepy. You download it, and it tells you exactly how many years, days, and hours you have left to live. Courtney is skeptical at first. She thinks it's just a random number generator. However, her friends pressure her into trying it out. She takes out her phone and downloads the app. While her friends get results showing they have 60 or 70 years left to live, Courtney gets a shock. Her screen turns red. The timer shows that she only has 3 hours left. She tries to laugh it off, pretending it doesn't bother her, but the specific number makes her anxious. Later that night, her boyfriend, Evan, offers to drive her home. Courtney notices that Evan is drunk. He is clearly not in a condition to drive. Remembering her ominous countdown, she gets a bad feeling. She decides to trust her gut and refuses to get in the car with him, choosing to walk or find another way. Immediately after she makes this decision, her phone buzzes. She looks at the screen and sees a terrifying notification from the Countdown app. It reads, "User agreement broken." By changing her plans to avoid the car ride, she has altered her fate, and the app does not like it. Meanwhile, Evan drives off alone. A few moments later, he loses control of the vehicle and crashes. In a chilling twist of fate, a large tree branch smashes through the windshield and impales the passenger seat, the exact spot where Courtney would have been sitting if she had agreed to the ride. She technically saved her own life, but the nightmare is just starting. Courtney arrives home, shaken but thinking she is safe. As the timer on her phone ticks down the final seconds, the atmosphere in her house changes. She is not alone. An invisible, supernatural entity begins to stalk her. She tries to run, but there is no escape. The moment the countdown hits 0, the invisible force attacks her, and she is violently killed, fulfilling the app's prediction to the second. We shift our focus to a local hospital, where we meet Quinn Harris, a dedicated and ambitious nurse. Although she recently passed her exam to become a research assistant, her life at work is far from perfect. She is constantly subjected to sexual harassment by her superior, Dr. Sullivan. Quinn feels trapped. She is afraid to report him because she doesn't want to jeopardize her new promotion, so she tries to keep her head down and do her job. One night, while on duty, Quinn wanders into a quiet, isolated wing of the hospital. There, she finds Evan, the survivor of the car crash from the previous night. Evan is visibly shaken and terrified. He confides in Quinn, telling her about Courtney's death and the mysterious app that predicted it. He reveals that he also downloaded Countdown, and according to the timer, he is scheduled to die right when he is supposed to go into surgery. Quinn listens to him, but remains skeptical. She assumes Evan is just traumatized by the accident or perhaps reacting to his medication. However, the seed of doubt is planted. Later in the break room, she sees her colleagues laughing and downloading the app just for fun. Curiosity gets the better of her, and Quinn installs it on her phone. The laughter stops for her when the screen turns red. The app predicts she has less than 3 days left to live. Back in the patient ward, Evan decides to take matters into his own hands. Terrified of dying on the operating table, he decides to skip his surgery. He thinks that by avoiding the location of his death, he can save himself. But just like Courtney, he receives a chilling notification on his phone. User agreement broken. Evan tries to flee through the empty hospital corridors. Suddenly, the lights begin to flicker. He is confronted by a horrifying vision of Courtney, but she looks twisted and demonic. The entity corners him, and despite his efforts to escape, Evan is brutally killed by the unseen force. The app's prediction comes true once again. Quinn stops by her family home to pick up some documents. There, she runs into her younger sister, Jordan. The tension between them is thick. Their relationship has been strained ever since their mother passed away, and they barely speak. The next morning, Quinn receives the shocking news that Evan has died at the hospital. She manages to check his phone and confirms that his timer had hit 0 exactly when he died. Terrified, Quinn decides to cancel a planned outing with Jordan and their father, thinking she will be safer if she stays alone. However, the moment she cancels the plan, her phone buzzes with the dreaded notification: user agreement broken. By changing her schedule, she has once again angered the app. To make matters worse, she is cornered at the hospital by Dr. Sullivan, who harasses her again. Overwhelmed by the supernatural threat and the toxic workplace, Quinn flees the hospital. She begins to investigate the app online and discovers she isn't the first victim. She reads about Courtney's death and finds forums where other users claim their friends died at the exact second predicted by the app. Most of the public dismisses these claims as internet hoaxes, but Quinn knows the truth. While alone in her apartment, she is suddenly tormented by a gruesome hallucination of Evan's corpse. Realizing she is being hunted, she runs out of her apartment, too afraid to stay indoors. The next day, Jordan tracks Quinn down and demands to know what is going on. She looks at Quinn's phone and is horrified to see the countdown. Quinn has only one day left to live. In a desperate attempt to get rid of the curse, Quinn goes to a tech store and buys a brand new smartphone. She thinks that a new device will solve the problem. But the moment she powers it on, the countdown app automatically installs itself, displaying the exact same time. Panic sets in. She crosses paths with a man named Matt. It turns out this meeting isn't a coincidence. Matt is also a victim of the app. He shows Quinn his phone. He is scheduled to die just a few hours before her. Realizing they are fighting the same enemy, they decide to team up to find a way to break the curse. Quinn and Matt head to the hospital, hoping to find a priest who might understand their supernatural problem. However, things go from bad to worse for Quinn. Upon arrival, she discovers that Dr. Sullivan has manipulated the narrative. He has lied to the administration, claiming that Quinn was the one harassing him. As a result, Quinn is suspended from her job immediately, cutting her off from resources. While they are at the hospital, Matt is targeted by the entity. The demon plays a cruel psychological trick, taking the form of Matt's younger brother, who died of an illness years ago. Shaken by this trauma, Matt and Quinn leave the hospital to regroup. They start analyzing the user agreement of the app more closely. They realize that the clause about altering fate is the key. They deduce that they broke the rules because they canceled plans that would have originally led to their deaths. Quinn was destined to die on the family trip she canceled, and Matt was supposed to die on a train ride he decided to skip. Desperate for a solution, they consult Father John, an eccentric priest who has a fascination with demonology. He suggests that since the curse is digital, perhaps the solution is in the code. They recruit Derek, the sarcastic employee from the phone store, to help them hack the application. Derek connects the phone to his computer and manages to break into the app's backend. What they find is terrifying. Quinn's younger sister, Jordan, has also downloaded the app. Her timer shows that she is scheduled to die just a little while before Quinn. It's a race against time for 3 people now. Derek decides to cheat the system. He manually adds decades to Quinn, Matt, and Jordan's lifespans directly in the code. For a moment, the timers on their screens change to show that they have years left to live. They believe they have beaten the curse. However, the demon is not so easily fooled. Later that night, the entity physically attacks Quinn again. After the struggle, she checks her phone and is devastated to see that the countdown has reset to its original, fatal time. Hacking the app didn't work. The curse is fighting back. The situation becomes desperate. The demon, identified by Father John as Ozin, attacks Jordan by taking the form of her dead mother. Realizing they are running out of options, the group retreats to the hospital to prepare for a final stand. Father John suggests that if they can beat the countdown by just 1 second, either by dying early or living longer, they might break the curse. They create a protective circle of salt to keep the demon out. However, Ozin is cunning. It preys on Matt's grief, mimicking the voice and appearance of his deceased brother. Overcome with emotion, Matt steps out of the protective circle. It is a fatal mistake. He wanders into the street and is instantly struck by a passing car. Quinn checks his phone and sees that he died exactly when the timer hit 0. The prophecy is absolute. Quinn rushes the injured Jordan into the hospital. While there, she learns that Dr. Sullivan is still harassing nurses. A radical idea forms in her mind. If she kills Sullivan, who has 57 years left on his countdown. She might be able to disrupt the timeline and break the curse. She lures Sullivan into a closed wing of the hospital and attacks him, intending to kill him. However, the demon Ozin intervenes. It actually saves Sullivan, pushing him away because Sullivan's death would violate the app's schedule. Sullivan manages to escape, leaving Quinn alone with the beast. Ozin turns its attention to Jordan, whose timer is just seconds away from zero. Quinn realizes that murder won't work, so she chooses sacrifice. She grabs a syringe full of morphine and intentionally overdoses. Her plan is to die before her own timer runs out, thereby proving the app wrong. As Quinn falls to the ground and her heart stops, the demon screams. Because the user agreement has been forcefully broken by her premature death, the entity dissolves and vanishes. Jordan rushes to her sister's side. She notices that Quinn has written something on her arm in marker, a circle and the word Narcan. Jordan understands immediately. She grabs a syringe of Narcan, a drug used to reverse overdoses, and plunges it into Quinn's chest. It's a tense moment, but Quinn gasps for air. She comes back to life. Because she technically died and broke the curse, the timers on their phones vanish. They have done the impossible. They cheated death. The two sisters, now reconciled and survivors. Sometime later, life seems to return to normal. Quinn, Jordan, and their father visit their mother's grave. The traumatic events have brought them closer together, healing the rift in their family. There is also justice for the human villain of the story. They learn that Dr. Sullivan has been arrested after multiple other nurses came forward to report his sexual harassment. As the family walks away, thinking the horror is behind them, Quinn's phone buzzes in her pocket. She checks the screen and sees a software update completing. Thank you for watching this recap of Countdown. If you enjoyed the story, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more sci-fi and horror movie recaps. See you in the next video.